Donald Trump talks law and order in racially polarized Milwaukee as new questions surface about the legal implications of Hillary Clinton, a foreign billionaire, and the Clinton Foundation. This is Special Report. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Shannon Bream in for Brett Baer. We are 12 weeks from the presidential election. Enough time, say Donald Trump supporters, for him to recover from a rough few weeks of tough messaging and bad polling. Tonight, a course correction of sorts for the campaign and the candidate. We have Fox team coverage of the 2016 race. James Rosen at the State Department with new allegations involving the Clintons' relationship with the Lebanese billionaire. Jennifer Griffin with the Clinton campaign in Philadelphia, where the nominee is dealing with new calls for a perjury investigation. But we begin with senior national correspondent John Roberts with the Trump campaign in La Crosse, Wisconsin tonight. All right, John, you spoke with Trump one-on-one today.
I did, and found that he's changing things up for this evening. Shannon, Donald Trump had planned to have a typical big campaign rally tonight just north of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But after the violent demonstrations that took place in Milwaukee over the weekend, Donald Trump ditched that idea. And instead, tonight, for the very first time, will give prepared remarks before a crowd of thousands in West Bend.
Campaign sources say the address will be groundbreaking for a Republican presidential candidate. Troubled by what he saw in Milwaukee, Donald Trump will propose to rebuild inner cities through a combination of economic opportunity and strong policing.
We have to obey the laws or we don't have a country. You have a case where good people are out there trying to get people to sort of calm down, and they're not calming down.
The speech, co-written by Rudy Giuliani, will address what Trump says are the root causes of violent confrontations that have seized Milwaukee and other American cities. And while he cautions that all the evidence is not yet in, Trump is inclined to side with the officer in the Milwaukee incident.
Did the policeman do the right thing?
Well, I guess, you know, if you believe a gun was pointed at his head, maybe ready to be fired, what is a person supposed to do? You're supposed to talk him out of it? So I would think so. We'll find out, because they have a tape, as I understand. Now, that's what the narrative is. Maybe it's not true. If it is true, people shouldn't be rioting.
The law and order speech comes a day after Trump laid out a broad strategy to defeat ISIS and battle radical Islamic terrorism, including a proposal for extreme vetting of anyone who wants to enter the U.S. from countries with links to terrorism. While Trump has offered little detail in how the plan would work, he told Fox News social media profiles, currently off limits to immigration agents, would play a prominent role.
We're going to be looking at Facebook. As an example, they don't look at what they should be looking at. Will people go through the cracks? Perhaps. But it can be very, very tough. It's got to be very, very tough to come into this country.
Wisconsin is one of several battlegrounds where Trump is struggling mightily against Hillary Clinton. Many Republicans insist Trump needs to take drastic action to turn his campaign around.
Do you think you need to turn your campaign around, or do you think you're doing fine?
I actually think I'm doing good. I have the biggest crowds. You're there. You see them. Nobody's ever had crowds like this.
You have enthusiastic supporters, but do you have people beyond that?
We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker says, at the very least, Trump needs a course correction.
If Donald Trump's going to win here and win across the country, he needs to make it clear that the race is between him and Hillary Clinton.
Can you stop taking the bait that the Democrats are handing, putting in front of you?
People like to use it. I don't take bait. If I respond to something, that's not taking bait. I am hitting Hillary Clinton and Obama very hard. I don't think anyone's ever hit them harder. Now, will that matter? I don't know.
Tomorrow, Donald Trump will receive his first classified intelligence briefing. It'll take place at the FBI field office in New York City. Mr. Trump will be accompanied by New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Christie will be there because he is the head of Donald Trump's transition team. General Flynn is being brought along to interpret the reports because sources tell me the Trump campaign is not confident of the quality of the intelligence that they'll receive. Shannon?
John Roberts on the trail with the Trump campaign. Thanks, John. Hillary Clinton met with supporters and volunteers this afternoon in Philadelphia. She holds a 9-point cushion in Pennsylvania in the latest Real Clear Politics average. But there continue to be questions about her email scandal and a new push for criminal charges from Republicans in Congress. Fox News correspondent Jennifer Griffin has that story tonight from Philadelphia.
With polls showing Hillary Clinton's lead over Donald Trump widening in key swing states, the campaign is still taking no chances, starting an effort to register 3 million new voters, an appeal Clinton made in a mostly African-American neighborhood in West Philadelphia today, while defending her husband's presidency.
When I hear people criticize Bill, I think, what don't they like, the peace or the prosperity? I'm not taking anybody anywhere for granted. We're going to work hard these next 85 days, and I can't do it without your help.
A new Monmouth poll shows Clinton ahead by 9 points in Florida, and a Washington Post poll today shows her ahead by 14 points in Virginia. Clinton's main super PAC is suspending advertising in Virginia, Colorado, and Pennsylvania in September, but the candidate continues to be dogged by new questions about whether she lied about her email server. Today, the FBI provided Congress's Republican-led House Oversight Committee with all of the notes from Clinton's interview with the FBI on July 2nd. As well as the statements of other witnesses, a rare move by the agency. Those notes, Fox has learned, are classified secret. Republicans on the committee released this video last night and have asked the FBI to investigate whether Clinton perjured herself.
I provided the department, which has been providing you, with all of my work-related emails, all that I had.
It's also likely that there are other work-related emails that they did not produce to state and that we did not find elsewhere and that are now gone because they deleted all emails they did not produce to state.
The ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Elijah Cummings, released the following statement, quote, "The FBI already determined unanimously that there is insufficient evidence of criminal wrongdoing. Republicans are now investigating the investigator in a desperate attempt to resuscitate this issue, keep it in the headlines, and distract from Donald Trump's sagging poll numbers."
A senior Clinton aide told reporters today that they would prefer that all of the FBI logs be released rather than released piecemeal by a partisan congressional committee, adding that only 3 of the 30,000 emails in question are dealing with classified information, but they say 2 of those, in fact, deal with condolence calls to world leaders, which they say were marked improperly. Shannon?
All right, we will talk about it with the panel. Jennifer Griffin, thank you. Now to another possible Hillary Clinton scandal. It involves the former Secretary of State's charitable foundation and more allegations of impropriety involving big donors who wanted favors when Clinton was President Obama's top diplomat. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen reports tonight from the State Department.
Thank you all, and God bless you.
20 days after Hillary Clinton left the State Department, her husband arrived in Lagos, Nigeria, to tour for the second time the Echo Atlantic project. Its developer, Lebanese-born billionaire Gilbert Shakori, escorted the former president. Echo Atlantic is a staggeringly ambitious venture, the dredging of millions of tons of sand to create a new landmass on which Shagori and his brother Ronald, partners in the Shagori Group, plan to build a new financial capital.
A unique opportunity for investors to capitalize.
And 27 days after Clinton's tour, when he met with U.S. Consul General Jeffrey Hawkins, a State Department official back in Washington named William P. Franklin, according to documents obtained by Fox News, emailed Hawkins and 4 other officials instructing them to let Ronald Shagori know in writing that the department was interested in buying property at Echo for a new consulate. Ordinary business, perhaps, except for the fact that Gilbert Shagori has donated between $1 to $5 million to the Clinton Foundation and has repeatedly used his wealth to gain access to the Clinton White House back in the 90s, and as the New York Times revealed last week, the Clinton State Department, where in 2009 top Clinton aide Huma Abedin scrambled to put Shagori in touch with Mideast policy aides at the request of the office of Bill Clinton.
The impression left is that there's favoritism involved, and it's just very unusual in State Department real estate and housing transactions overseas to have this kind of focus on someone with such clear financial connections to even the departed Secretary of State.
These latest State Department documents about the Shagoris were obtained by Citizens United, the conservative advocacy group that has waged a lengthy court battle with the Obama administration over the Freedom of Information Act. The State Department said Echo Atlantic was first scouted as a location more than 4 years ago by an independent independent real estate firm and that the sale never went through.
The site search for a new consulate in Lagos began in 2011 as prioritized by the Capitol Security Construction Program.
So if the process started as early as 2011 when Secretary Clinton was still in office, was she aware that Eco Atlantic was among one of the sites being pursued?
I'm not aware she was.
The Hillary Clinton campaign did not respond to our requests for comment. A spokesman for Gilbert Shakoury told Fox News that because Eco Atlantic boasts state-of-the-art urban design and other features, it should come as no surprise that the U.S. and other countries would consider placing their diplomatic facilities there. And then one late-breaking development, the Boston Globe tonight, in an editorial, is calling on the Clinton Foundation to cease accepting funding immediately and to shut down altogether if Hillary Clinton wins the White House, because the paper says the foundation, quote, will always look too much like a conflict of interest for comfort. Shannon?
We'll see if we get a response from the Clinton campaign. James Rosen at the State Department, thank you. North Carolina is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to restore a voter identification requirement and other voting rules for the November election. An appeals court recently ruled state law restricting voting impacted black residents negatively. The request goes first to Chief Justice John Roberts. He can rule on his own or refer to the full court. The Chief Justice has given the opposing side a deadline of next Thursday to file a response.